Do you feel free? Do you have exclusive, unrestricted entitlement to exercise your rights? Do you feel that your government is there to protect your rights? Hi, my name is Brian Mills, and in the next 4 minutes, I'm going to reveal some shocking information that is already affecting your way of life. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. This presentation directly relates to you, your family, and your friends. Please pay special attention, as this free presentation will not be online forever. So watch it all while you can. At times, we get so lulled in our way of life that it's hard to imagine there being anything else. However, post-9/11 legislations, such as the Patriot Act, have brought a lot of shocking changes into the lives of Westerners by changing their freedoms dramatically. From a country that guarantees personal freedoms and prides itself in that fact, the United States has transformed into a police state where nothing is held sacred or personal. Freedom is directly related to personal privacy. The first thing Adam and Eve exercised as their right was their right to privacy. This ancient example, simply demonstrated by placing a fig leaf over their genitals, was exerted even before the eyes of God Almighty, and He respected it. Privacy as we know it is not a universal concept. Until recently, in some cultures, the right to privacy was not even recognized. The term privacy is sometimes even regarded as untranslatable by linguists because many languages lack a specific word for privacy. If you have ever read Orwell's 1984, you know the terror of living in a country whose government knows too much about its people. The idea that Big Brother sees everything produces an uncomfortable feeling to individuals living in a free society. In actuality, such a society is not free. Such a society only gives its members an illusion of being free. Privacy can be defined as many things. It can be the right to prevent intimate acts or unauthorized access to a home or vehicle. The right to privacy also includes the right to make medical decisions without government coercion. Privacy is also sometimes related to anonymity or the wish to remain unidentified in the eye of the public. However, it's most easily defined as preventing intrusions into one's personal information. Whether it's information about your income, habits, sexual preferences, or even your shoe size, it's all your information and you have the right to protect it from unwanted use or distribution. Privacy and security have become a really big concern when so much data is collected, consolidated, and stored. Is this data secure from an external attack or international misuse from within an organization? Who decides who gets access to what information and for what reason? What would happen if someone who has access to our information were to lose their laptop? Are the keepers of our electronic identities truly protected and trustworthy? When information is provided to the government, it must be protected. However, so far, government has not proven to be a moral or trustworthy guardian. It only takes one person to compromise a system, such as the events in 2010 when WikiLeaks released classified U.S. State Department materials. These materials were provided by U.S. Army Private Bradley Manning, who had been assigned as an intelligence analyst with access to the secret Internet Protocol router network used by the United States government to transmit classified information. Manning was charged with a number of offenses, including communicating national defense information to an unauthorized source and aiding the enemy. But the damage was done, and the lives of American soldiers were placed in danger. Now, if our government cannot keep their own highly classified communications secure from publishing, do you really think that they're doing a better job of protecting your personal information? And with the new controversial CISPA bill passed on to the Senate, the government will have even more information available because the bill is intended to allow information sharing between private companies and the government. Not sharing with one government agency, but sharing with any branch of the government, including the military or the National Security Agency. There have been numerous cases of government agencies overstepping their authority. Governments survive on tax collection, which requires massive amounts of personal information. Recently, a practice of the U.S. Internal Revenue Service known as browsing was known to the public. Thousands of IRS employees have access to the files of all American taxpayers thanks to the nationwide IRS database. And although there have been rules against browsing those files, the IRS has done shockingly little to prevent employees from doing so. One IRS employee abused his position and reviewed numerous tax returns of people he knew. Because no law has been passed to sanction such acts, he was found not guilty. If you pay your taxes, as most of us do, you have no choice but to submit personal information to the government. But when your personal information is collected by force of law and made available to any bureaucrat with an ulterior motive, you are left defenseless. This kind of near sociopathic behavior could affect you. Imagine having an acquaintance who knows all about you without your permission. Imagine being so outrageously intruded upon. The government cannot protect your privacy. It cannot protect you as a citizen. The sheer size of the bureaucratic establishment is just too great for the government to have any real power to protect you. Do you want to allow your personal information to be misused? Do you want to be left at the mercy of the government that has been proven to not protect its citizens on numerous occasions? There are many ways that governments undermine and threaten the privacy of citizens. Governments also have the power to take and use information without permission. More and more laws are adopted all over the world every day that allow governments to collect information without consent. Infuriatingly, too many are familiar with this. There is little recourse against governments when they use information in ways that are harmful or objectionable, meaning they suffer very little when they misuse information about their citizens. Privacy is one of the biggest problems in this new electronic age. The driving force behind the modern culture is the desire to find out everything about you, and once it has all your information and the information of millions of other people, it has an asset which is tradable. Bills like CISPA override policy and surveillance laws already in force and allow for instant tracking of our behavior. This bill will enable unprecedented surveillance of our activities under the pretext of security, and there is nothing in the bill that can prevent companies or government from monitoring private communication simply by claiming a security purpose. While some say that surveillance serves national security, most people feel that government surveillance is too broad-reaching and intrusive. The truth is that we need privacy from government because it's a big deal to those of us who value our freedom. Countless companies and individuals have lost everything simply because they were an open book to those with power to access the information. Many people could have avoided problems if they had a privacy plan in place. It is becoming harder and harder to live without some kind of interference from government, and individual anonymity has become virtually impossible. One of the things you can do to protect yourself from any kind of privacy intrusion is living under the radar. Wide access to personal information was not what people meant when they called this age the information age. You too have the right to protect yourself by protecting your information. If you want to preserve your freedom, information protection is an important issue for you and your family. Perhaps you understand the need for personal privacy but have no idea how to obtain it. So who am I? How do I know so much about this current privacy war, and how can I help you live under the radar? Like I said, my name is Brian Mills. I'm a 52-year-old hard-working American, and like millions of others around the world, I'm fed up with government and other large corporations snooping into my privacy. What I do on a day-to-day basis is nobody's business but my own. And with identity theft becoming the fastest-growing crime in America, it's now time that every single one of us do something to protect our personal information. According to a recent survey by the Federal Trade Commission, there were over 9.9 million cases of identity theft in America alone.